In this lecture, we are going to see some properties of Z transform and standard Z transform of some standard functions. So what are the properties? So one by one we'll see all that properties. If we know Z transform of f of k, suppose it is f of z, then the first property is change of scale. Now what is this property? In this property, if the function f of k is multiplied by a raised to k, then Z transform of a raised to k into f of k is equal to f of z by a. Okay, so if you know what is the Z transform of f of k, we can find the Z transform of a raised to k into f of k. What to do? Wherever there is a z in this function, f of z, wherever there is a z, replace it by z by a. And by that, we can get the Z transform, the function which is multiplied by a raised to k. So this is the first property. Then next property, multiplication by k. If we know what is the Z transform of f of k, and if that function is multiplied by k, then whatever Z transform of f of k we got, f of z, okay, multiplied by minus z d by dz. That is, we had to take a derivative of f of z with multiplied by minus z term. Okay, so multiplication by k, if we know the z transform of the function, and if that function is multiplied by k, then we have to first find the derivative of f of z with respect to z together with multiplied with minus z. Okay, so this is a second property, multiplication by k property. The next property, division by k property. If we know what is the Z transform of f of k, and if that function is divided by k, then we have to first divide f of z by z, and taking integration of that, we can get the Z transform of that function. It will be integral z to infinity f of z by z dz. Okay. So this was the third property, division by k property. And the next property, shifting property. Instead of k, instead of only k, everywhere if you are having k plus n or k minus n in the function, then we can find the Z transform of that. It will be z raised to n f of z minus summation r equal to 0 to n minus 1 f of r z raised to n minus r, if you are having k plus n. And if you are having k minus n, it will be z raised to minus n f of z. Okay, so these are the four properties we have about the Z transform. If we know the Z transform of some function, if that function is multiplied by a raised to k, or if it is multiplied by k, or if it is divided by k, or everywhere instead of k, if we are having k plus n or k minus n, then we use the corresponding property to simplify the terms. Okay, so only these four properties are there. While solving the problems, we make use of these properties to get the answer. Okay, so carefully remember these properties. These properties can also ask for multiple choice question. If Z transform of f of k is f of z, then what is the Z transform of f of k by k? Or what is the Z transform of f of k minus n? So one must know these formulas, these properties. Okay. Now, there are Z transform of some standard functions, okay, standard sequences. Okay, so what are that formulas? Okay, these are the 6 standard formulas we have in Z transform. You have to remember all these formulas. Z transform of cos alpha k, it is equal to Z into Z minus cos alpha divided by Z square minus 2Z cos alpha plus 1, provided mod z greater than 1. Z transform of sin alpha k, it is equal to Z into sin alpha divided by Z square minus 2Z cos alpha plus 1 for mod z greater than 1. this we call as a region of convergence. In first lecture, we saw what is a region of convergence. Okay, the values of z for which this z transform is finite or this is convergent, that values we call as a region of convergence. Okay, if it is not in this interval, then z transform doesn't exist. It goes to infinity. Okay, so z transform of this will be a finite value or will exist for these values. Okay, these are called as a region of convergence, ROC. Then next, z transform of hyperbolic function cos h alpha k. It is z into z minus cos h alpha divided by z square minus 2z cos h alpha plus 1 provided mod z greater than 1. Then z transform of hyperbolic sin h alpha k. It is equal to z sin h alpha upon z square minus 2z cos h alpha plus 1 for mod z greater than 1. Then z transform of a raised to k upon k factorial. It will be e raised to a by z. Okay, standard formula is there. A raised to k. A can be any number. This a can be any number raised to k upon k factorial. It will be e raised to a by z. And next is z transform of u of k. This u of k, this we call as a unit step function. And it is defined as u of k is equal to 1 for k greater or equal 0, and it will be 0 for k less than 0. Okay, this we call as a unit step function. For all positive values, the function takes value 1 and 0 for all negative values. NumID is called as a unit step function. If we draw the graph of this function, okay, if we draw the graph, then for all negative values, it takes value 0, and for all positive values, it takes value 1. And it look like a step. You can see it is like a step, and height of that is 1. So because of nature of this, it is called as a step, and height of that is 1, that is unit. So it is called unit step function. The graph of that is like a step with height 1. So unit step function. Okay. In many signal, in many system where signals are involved, there this plays very important role, unit step function. Okay, so these are the 6 standard formulas you have to remember. These formulas can also be asked for multiple choice questions, so carefully remember all these formulas. Okay, now we'll see the problems. We'll take the problems based on these standard formulas and the properties. Consider the first problem. Find z transform of f of k is equal to 2 raised to k cos of 3k minus 4 for k greater or equal 0. Okay, now you can see that we are having cos term, cos of 3k minus 4. Okay, and this term is multiplied by 2 raised to k. Now, just carefully look at the function. Depending on the function, we have to decide whether to use the properties and formulas or whether to use the basic definition of Z transform. Because we know the definition of Z transform in the form of summation k equal to minus infinity to infinity, and that f of k z raised to minus k. In the previous first lecture, we saw how to use this summation to find the Z transform. Okay, so whether to use that definition or to use the standard properties and theorem, standard properties and the standard formulas. So it depends on this function. Okay, depends on this function f of k. Now what we have this cos term, and we know the formula for cos. Okay, already we have taken the formulas for cos alpha k. This formula we have taken in the just now we have taken this formula. But what happened here? We are having 3k and this extra term is there. So to remove this extra term, you have to simplify this. Okay. So firstly, simplify this term, find the Z transform of all this term, and then we can use the property a raised to k into f of k. Okay. So first find Z trans of cos term and then use change of scale property a raised to k into f of k property. Here a is 2. But before that, we have to simplify this cos term. And we know we can separate out this by using the formula of cos of a minus b. Standard trigonometric formula. And the formula for cos a minus b is cos a cos b plus sin a sin b. Okay. A and b are 3k minus 4. So by using that standard formula, it is cos a cos b plus sin a sin b. Okay, so carefully remember that trigonometric formula of cos a minus b. Okay, taking a as 3k and b as 4, we get this term. And now take Z transform on both sides. Here you can see that there is no k. In this also there is no k. So these are the constant terms. And in Z transform, we can take constant term out of Z transform. And if you are having addition or subtraction, then that also we can separate it out. Okay. When we take the definition of Z transform, there we saw linearity property of Z transform, that is constant terms can be taken out and addition or subtraction can be separated. Okay. So use that property. So Z transform cos of 3k minus 4 is equal to Z transform of cos 3k cos 4 plus sin 3k sin 4. Take constant terms out. Cos is a constant term, so taking it out, cos 4, Z transform of cos 3k plus sin 4 is a constant because there is no k in that. So this also we can take it outside into sin of Z transform of sin 3k. Now, we saw the formula for cos alpha k and sin alpha k. So make use of the standard formulas. Okay, that formulas are very, very important. You have to remember that formulas. So make use of that standard formulas. So by that standard formula, it will be z into z minus cos alpha upon z square minus 2z cos alpha plus 1. Now instead of alpha, we have 3. So it will be z into z minus cos 3 divided by z square minus 2z cos 3 plus 1. This cos z as it is. Okay, outside term as it is, plus sin 4 as it is, Z transform of sin alpha k, it is Z into sin 3 upon Z square minus 2Z cos 3 plus 1. Okay, so we are just using that standard formulas for these two terms. Now, if you want, you can further simplify it. You can see these are having common denominator. So you can combine them together. These two terms are same. So you can combine them. So it becomes z into cos 4 into z minus cos 3 plus z into sin 4 into sin 3 divided by all this term. That is z square minus 2z cos 3 plus 1. Okay. So just now we got Z transform of this term. But what we want? We want Z transform of 2 raised to k into cos term. And we know the formula for a raised to k into f of k. If we know Z transform f of k, then whatever f of z we get, replace z by a term. Here a is 2. So by using that first property, Z transform a raised to k into f of k property. Wherever there is a z, replace it by z by a. And what is a over here? A is 2. So wherever z is there, we are replacing it by z by 2. So z by 2 cos 4, z by 2 minus cos 3 plus z by 2 sin 4 sin 3 divided by z by 2 square minus 2 into z by 2 cos 3 plus 1. Okay. So making use of the first property, we can get the corresponding Z transform. So when a problem is given, first of all check, can we use standard formulas and the properties? Okay, and accordingly we have to simplify. If we cannot use standard formulas and the properties, in that case we have to use the basic definition which we saw in the first lecture, definition in terms of summation, and then putting the values of k into it, and then using the standard formula of 1 plus y square, or 1 minus y plus y square minus y cube. Using that formulas we can get the Z transform. Okay, you can use the corresponding method. Okay, in this formula for cos is known, and a raised to k into any function, both properties we know. So using that we can get the answer. Correct. Now consider the next problem. Find Z transform of f of k is equal to k minus 2 into k minus 3 into e raised to minus 4k for k greater or equal 0. Okay. So again, first check which Z transform we know, and accordingly try to simplify it. Okay. Now we don't know Z transform of k, Z transform of constant term, that also we don't know. Z transform of e raised to minus ak or e raised to ak, that is also not known. So Z transform of none of the term from this is known. So we have to simplify it further. Okay, so that we can use either formulas or the properties. So how to simplify it? Now this e raised to minus 4k, this we can write it as e raised to minus 4 whole term raised to k. Okay, e raised to minus 4k, we can write it as e raised to minus 4 whole term raised to k. So this is of the form a raised to k. And we know the formula for a raised to k into some function. So you can apply this at the end by using a raised to k into f of k property. So first try to find a Z transform of this term. Now to get Z transform of this, again no direct formula is there. So what we can do, try to simplify it further. Take the multiplication of these two brackets, k minus 2 into k minus 3. So what is that term? K minus 2 into k minus 3. Product of these two bracket is k square minus 3k minus 2k minus 2 into minus 3, that will be plus 6. Minus 2k minus 3k is minus 5k. So the product of these two bracket comes out to be k square minus 5k plus 6 e raised to minus 4k as it is. Now, how to get the Z transform of these terms? Okay. Now these are Z transform of these terms are not known to us, so we have to simplify it to get the Z transform. Now multiplication by k property we know, but here how to use that multiplication by k property? This k square, this k or 6, this we can write it as k into k into 1. K square can be written as k into 1. 5k can be written as 5 into k into 1. And 6 can be written as 6 into 1. Okay. So what we have done, we have just split these functions as product of k into 1. This as 5 into k into 1 and 6 as 6 into 1. So now what to do? How to get the Z transform of this? First, find Z transform of 1. Then multiplication by 6, no problem. It is just constant term, we can take outside. Z transform of 6 into 1 will be Z transform of 1 into 6. Then after getting Z transform of 1, use multiplication by k property, k into f of k. Then first find Z transform of 1, then multiplication by k, and one more time use multiplication by k property. Okay, and at the end use a raised to k into f of k. Take all this function as f of k. Okay, that property, and we get the answer. So aim is to get first Z transform of 1. Now Z transform of 1, no standard formula. So what we have to do? We have to use the definition of Z transform. That is formula of Z transform in the form of summation. Okay. So use that definition. So what is the definition of Z transform? Summation k equal to minus infinity to infinity f of k z raised to minus k. If you know the standard formula, make use of that directly. But if you don't know, then use the definition of Z transform in the form of summation. Okay. Now what are the, here we have to substitute this f of k. Here we have to consider f of k as 1. Okay, take f of k as 1. But what are the limits? Limits are from minus infinity to infinity. But what values k takes? K takes values greater or equal 0. In the problem, it is given k must be greater or equal 0. And whenever the function is not defined in some interval, then we have to assume that within that interval the function is 0. Okay. In the previous lecture, we saw that depending on the interval, if function is not defined for any of the interval, then we assume that for that interval function takes value 0. Okay. So summation of this, so the summation over interval minus infinity to infinity, we can take it from 0 to infinity. Okay. And function is 1. So Z transform of 1, we are taking f of k as 1, summation 0 to infinity z raised to minus k. F of k is 1. 1 into z raised to minus k, it becomes just z raised to minus k. Yes. Now what to do? Here, to solve this summation, put the values of k into it. Put k equal to 0, put k equal to 1, k equal to 2, like that. Substitute the values of k into this term. So if we substitute the values, it becomes z raised to 0. For k equal to 0, becomes z raised to minus 0. Plus, for k equal to 1, it becomes z raised to minus 1. Plus, for k equal to 2, it becomes z raised to minus 2 plus dot dot dot. Substituting values of k over here. Now, z raised to 0 is 1. Okay, this is 1. Z raised to minus 1, we can write it as 1 by z. Z raised to minus 2 can be written as 1 by z square. And 1 by z square, we can write it as square of 1 by z. 1 by z square is the square of this term. We try to write this term in this format. 1 plus y square. In that format, try to write the terms. Because we know the formula for this term. Okay, so try to write all this term in that format. 1 is already there, so no problem. Because z raised to 0 is 1, so no problem with this term. So it will be 1 plus. This term will be 1 by z. This will be 1 by z square, that we can write it as 1 by z whole term square. Next term will be 1 by z cube plus 1 by z raised to 4. Okay, like that we get the terms. Now, we know the formula for this 1 plus y square plus y cube dot dot dot. And the formula for that is 1 upon 1 minus y. Now here y is 1 by z. So all this term become 1 upon 1 minus 1 by z. And there is a condition on this. This summation will be finite if mod y is less than 1. That is, mod of 1 by z must be less than 1. Okay, this must be finite when mod of this is less than 1. So mod, we are replacing y by 1 by z. So mod of 1 by z has to be less than 1. Correct? Now mod 1 is 1. Take this mod z to other side. Multiply and divide by z. Okay, here you can multiply and divide by z. So f of z transform of 1 become z upon z minus z into 1 by z will be 1. That is z upon z minus 1. We are just multiplying and dividing this term by z. So we get z upon z minus 1. And if you take mod z to other side, mod z become greater than 1. Okay. When we take numerator denominator term to other side, then this mod z become greater than 1. Because mod of 1 is 1. Now we got z transform of 1. Now use multiplication by k property, then use multiplication by k property 2 times, and then use a raised to k into f of k property. By that, we can get the answer of all that term. So this is Z transform of 1. Use multiplication by K property. Z transform of K into Z transform of K will be Z transform of K into 1, and that property, okay, Z transform K into F of K, it is equal to minus Z d by dz of F of Z. Okay, so we know what is F of Z. This is F of Z. So minus Z d by dz of all this term. Now we know how to take a derivative. Use quotient rule, U by V rule. Derivative of U by V is V into derivative of U minus U into derivative of V divided by V square. Okay, U by V rule of derivative. Minus Z, keep it as it is outside. So minus Z into Z minus 1 into derivative of Z. Z minus 1 into derivative of Z is 1. Okay, minus Z into derivative of Z minus 1. Okay, Z minus 1 into derivative of Z is 1 minus Z into derivative of this denominator term, that will be Z into 1 divided by square of this term, that is Z minus 1 square. This Z get cancelled. This minus minus term become plus. So we get answer Z upon Z minus 1 square. Okay, this is Z transform of K. We also want Z transform of K square. So we can write K square as K into 1. But Z transform of K is known to us. And for that, use no multiplication by K property. And multiplication by K will be minus d by dz of all this term. Okay. That is Z upon Z minus 1 square. Okay, we are using multiplication by K property for this function now. So it is minus Z by dz of all this term. Now again use U by V rule. Derivative of this will be, again use quotient rule, U by V rule. So V into derivative of U minus U into derivative of V divided by square of denominator. So again using quotient rule, minus Z keeping as it is, Z minus 1 square into derivative of Z. Derivative of Z is 1 minus Z into derivative of Z minus 1 square. Derivative of Z minus 1 square is 2 into Z minus 1 into Z as it is divided by square of denominator. Square of denominator is Z minus 1 raised to 4. Now take one Z minus 1 common. Take this term common. As square is there, so one term will remain. One Z minus 1 term will remain. After taking this term common, 2Z will remain. And Z minus 1 minus 2Z, it becomes minus Z minus 1. Then this minus and this minus, all the terms become positive. Correct? So one Z minus 1 get cancelled with one of the term from this. Remaining term will form minus Z minus 1 multiplied by minus Z divided by Z minus 1 cube, because one term get cancelled. So that all this negative and these two negative terms that get cancelled. So it becomes Z into Z plus 1 upon Z minus 1 cube. Okay, so this is Z transform of K square. And now use take the original function. What is the original function? K square minus 5k plus 6 e raised to minus 4k. Okay. Now we can split it and we can use the formula a raised to k into f of k. A we can take as e raised to minus 4. And if we are having a raised to k into f of k, wherever z is there, we have to replace it by z by a term by using first property. So it will be z transform inside term, that is k square minus 5k plus 6. And after getting the z transform of all this term, we have to replace z by z upon e raised to minus 4, because a is e raised to minus 4. This is a. So after finding the z transform of this term, replace z by z upon e raised to minus 4. And z transform of all this term will be z transform of k square, constant term take it out, minus 5 into z transform of k plus 6 into z transform of 1. 6 means it is 6 into 1. Taking 6 outside, z transform of 1. Now we know what is the z transform of 1, z transform of k, z transform of k square. Okay, just now we have calculated these three terms. So put these values over here, and at the end do the replacement. Change this by using first change of scale property. Okay, so if we use these standard formulas, so whatever value of z transform of k square we got, z upon z plus 1 upon z minus 1 cube, z transform of k already calculated, z upon z minus 1 square, z transform of 1 also we have calculated, z upon z minus 1. And now replace z up by z upon e raised to minus 4. When we take e raised to minus 4 to numerator, it becomes z e raised to 4. And now just do this substitution. Replace all these z terms. Okay, replace all these z terms by z upon z minus z upon z into e raised to 4 term. So f of z will be z e raised to 4 into z e raised to 4 plus 1 divided by z e raised to 4 minus 1 cube minus z e raised to 4 divided by z e raised to 4 minus 1 whole term square plus 6 into z e raised to 4 upon z e raised to 4 minus 1. Okay, so this is the answer. So what we have done, firstly we find z transform of 1 by using the definition of z transform. Then we use multiplication by k property. Then we use multiplication by k property one more time. And after that, we use a raised to k into f of k property. And then using that property, we can get this z transform of the given function. If we have constant terms, that constant terms we can keep outside. And summation or subtraction can be separated. Okay, so by that we can get the z transform. So properly use the formulas and the properties to get the answer. Consider the next problem. Find the z transform f of k is equal to sine alpha k divided by k. So again, look at the function carefully. Check out whether z transform of any function is known to us, and whether can we use any of the properties. Now we know what is the z transform of sine alpha k. Standard formula is known to us. Division by k property is also known to us. Okay, so we can make use of the formula and the property. First, use the standard formula of sine alpha k. Formula is z into sine alpha upon z square minus 2z cos alpha plus 1. Standard formula. We are making use of that. Now, division by k means what? Okay, if you want to find the z transform of f of k divided by k, then z transform of that is integration of f of z divided by z to infinity. So whatever f of z we have, whatever z transform of the function we have, divide it by z and take its integration. That is how we use division by k property. So by using division by k property, we have taken all this function, we divide it by z, that is multiplying by 1 by z, and integration of that from z to infinity. Okay, so we use this property. Now, this z get cancelled. Now we get sine alpha upon z square minus 2z cos alpha plus 1. Sin alpha is a constant term, so no problem. We can, if you want, you can take out of integral sign, or you can keep it as it is. In the denominator, what we have? We have z square term. We have single z into some constant term, and we have 1. So how to solve this integration? If you have only this term, some a upon z square plus a square or minus a square, then we know the standard formula of integration. But here what we have? We have z square term also, z term is also there, and constant term is there. So what to do in that case? Whenever we have such type of term, z square and single z term and some constant term, try to make this as a perfect square. Try to adjust third term such that all this term can be written as square of some term. And how to do that? Whatever coefficient of z is there, divide it by 2. So if we divide minus 2 cos alpha by 2, we get minus cos alpha. And take square of that. Square of this will be cos square alpha. And adjust this term over here. Again, I will repeat. If you are having z square and z term and constant term, then try to make it as a square of some term. So how to do that? Whatever coefficient of z is there, divide that coefficient by 2. Okay, divide this coefficient by 2 and take its square and adjust that term over here. So we want, instead of 1, we want cos square. But we know one formula of trigonometric function. 1 is the formula for cos square plus sine square. Sine square plus cos square is 1. So we can split 1 as sine square plus cos square. So by that, cos square also get adjusted. So in the denominator, we write z square minus 2z cos alpha. 1 is, we split it as sine square plus cos square. Now, if you look at this first 3 terms, okay, z square minus 2z cos alpha plus cos alpha. This is nothing but square of z minus cos alpha. This term is a square of z minus cos alpha. Okay, because if you take the square of this, it becomes z square minus 2z cos alpha plus cos square alpha. Now, we can use this formula now. Instead of a, we have sine alpha. Instead of z, we have all this term. And this is a square. So use the formula of a upon z square plus a square. And the formula for integration of a upon z square plus a square, that is nothing but tan inverse of z by a. Now just take z as z minus cos alpha and a as sine alpha. So by using standard formula, it will be tan inverse of all this term divided by this term. Tan inverse of z by a. Z, instead of z, we have z minus cos alpha, and instead of a, we have sine alpha. Okay, a upon x square plus a square is tan inverse of x by a. So we are using the corresponding terms, limits from z to infinity. Now if you substitute limit z as infinity, infinity minus cos alpha will be infinity, infinity by sine alpha is again infinity. So we get tan inverse of infinity. And what is tan inverse of infinity? Tan inverse of infinity is pi by 2. Because tan pi by 2 is infinity, so tan inverse of infinity is pi by 2. Standard formula is there, tan inverse of infinity is pi by 2. So at upper limit, we get pi by 2. At lower limit, we get the terms same as this, because we are replacing z by z terms only. So we get again the same term at lower limit. So the answer is z transform of sine alpha k by k is pi by 2 minus tan inverse of z minus cos alpha by sine alpha. Okay. If you want to, you can further simplify it. Pi by 2 minus tan inverse. Pi by 2 minus tan inverse is cot inverse. So if you want, you can simplify it. Otherwise, this answer is correct. No problem. But there is a formula, pi by 2 minus tan inverse is cot inverse. So you can use that to simplify it. Cot inverse of z minus cos alpha by sin alpha. Okay, so what we have done in this problem, firstly, we find z transform of cos alpha k, standard formula, and then we use division by k property. And for division, we use integration. So using integration, by simplifying the terms, we can get the answer. Okay. Answer the next problem. And z transform of f of k is equal to k into a raised to k minus 1 into u of k minus 1 for k greater equals 0. Now, we have already taken the formula for unit step function of u of, unit step function u of k. But instead of k, we are having k minus 1. So we can use the property of f of k minus 1. So first find what is the z trans of u of k, then find the z trans of u of k minus 1. Then you can use multiplication by k property, a raised to k property. Or first find what is the z trans of u of k, then use multiplication by a raised to k property. And you can see instead of k, we are having k minus 1 for both the terms. So for all this term, we can use this property. Take n as 1. So we get u of k minus 1, a raised to k minus 1. And at the end, use multiplication by k property. Okay. So first find z trans of u of k. Standard formula is there. Already we have taken that formula. Z upon z minus 1 mod z greater than 1. Then find what is a raised to k into u of k. A raised to k into u of k. Wherever z is there, we have to replace it by z by a term. Okay. We are using the change of scale property, first property. Okay, this is z, f of z. Replace z by a term. So it becomes z by a upon z by a minus 1. Multiply and divide by a. That gives us z upon z minus a. Okay, this will be z upon z minus a. Multiplying, dividing by a. Now, instead of k, we want k minus 1. So use this property f of k minus n. And the formula for f of k minus n is z raised to minus n into f of z. Is z raised to minus n into f of z. This is that formula. But instead of n, we have 1. So it is z raised to minus 1 into this term. Z raised to minus 1, z get cancelled. And now use this last term, k, multiply all this term by k, and use multiplication by k property. Multiplication by k means we have to multiply by minus z d by dz of multiplication by k. It is minus z d by dz of all this term. Minus z, you keep it as it is. Derivative of 1 by any function is minus 1 upon square of this function. Derivative of 1 upon any function is minus 1 upon square of that function. This minus, it becomes plus. The answer is z upon z minus a square. Okay. So what we have done in this problem, first we find the z trans of u of k by standard definition, standard formula. Then if you want, you can use this property and simplify, or you first use a raised to k into f of k property and then replace k by k minus 1. Why we are doing this? Because at both this place we have the same term. If we have different terms, then first we find this and then we use multiplication by a raised to k term. Okay. In that case, we can split a raised to k as k minus 1 as a raised to k into a raised to minus 1. And this is a constant, we can take it outside. But here no problem because they have same power. So making use of this property, it can be simplified. And at the end, we use multiplication by k property. We have to multiply by this term. Simplification gives us the answer.